Not just foreign investors exiting China, foreign journalists also accelerating departure. Chinese youth flood labor market at dawn for 16-hour shift, 160 yuan daily. Xi Jinping issues warning, scholar, public sentiment is shifting. China's domestic demand weakens, Samsung plans to cut 30% of workforce in China. Philippines announces arrest of former mayor Alice Guo in Indonesia. AstraZeneca employees under investigation by Chinese authorities. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Not just foreign investors exiting China, foreign journalists also accelerating departure. China's economic and political environment is worsening, especially following the CCP's anti-espionage law. This has accelerated not only the withdrawal of foreign investments but also the departure of foreign journalists. Among them, David Rennie, Beijing bureau chief for The Economist, has announced his departure, although his successor has yet to receive a visa from the CCP. Rennie made his announcement in his Chaguan column but did not provide specific reasons for his decision. In the final piece of his column, he expressed the loneliness of reporting in China, stating, "Doing journalism here is truly lonely," and described the challenges of reporting as a shockingly solitary endeavor. Rennie's Chaguan column, which began in May 2018, focused on China's society, economy, and culture. He likened himself to a tea master serving his readers, offering insights into the Chinese public space, which he described as places not fully controlled by the state where citizens can engage in various activities, from conversations to seeking solace. He noted that despite government control, this spirit of openness persists in online platforms and the gig economy. During his tenure, Rennie published 220 articles, exploring various regions of China and documenting his observations. However, due to delays in visa approval for his successor, Rennie stated that Chaguan will temporarily pause updates. Rennie's departure is part of a broader trend of Western journalists leaving China. According to the Chosun Ilbo, the New York Times has reduced its China correspondence from 10 to 2, the Wall Street Journal from 15 to 3, and the Washington Post now has none, while South Korean media have seen a decrease from over 40 Beijing correspondents to just over 30. A survey by the Foreign Correspondents Club of China in April revealed that 81% of foreign journalists experienced interference, harassment, or violence from CCP authorities, and 71% reported potential hacking of their phones. Even those who manage to stay find it increasingly difficult to access credible information or data, and interactions with high-level CCP officials or experts are nearly impossible. Reporters Without Borders ranked China 172nd out of 180 in its 2024 World Press Freedom Index, highlighting the CCP's use of surveillance, coercion, intimidation, and harassment to silence independent journalism. Currently, 106 journalists and 3 media workers are detained under harsh conditions in China, along with 10 journalists in Hong Kong, making China the world's largest prison for journalists. Chinese youth flood labor market at dawn for 16-hour shift, 160 yuan daily. Every early morning, Beijing's Majiokyo job market on the outskirts of the city becomes the busiest place, with unemployed youths arriving as early as 4 a.m. to compete for day jobs. From 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., vans and buses continuously arrive, picking up workers for various roles including construction, kitchen assistants, logistics, cleaning, and security. Many are willing to spend up to 16 hours, including waiting time, to earn a daily wage of 160 yuan, nearly $23, while those doing more physically demanding jobs, like parcel loading, can earn over 200 yuan, about $28.20. This market, the largest in northern China, has become a symbol of the intense competition young people face in the job market. According to a report by Chosun Ilbo on September 5, Xing, a 29-year-old from Baoding, Hebei Province, shared that 2 years ago, he worked at a semiconductor equipment factory in Beijing, earning 6,500 yuan a month, about $916.49. Now, he lives in a 20 yuan dormitory, about $2.82, and joins the job hunt every morning. The difficulties faced by young job seekers in China are not fully captured by official statistics. After youth unemployment, from ages 16 to 24, hit a record 21.3% in June last year, the government stopped publishing these figures, opting instead to report only the unemployment rate excluding students since December. Even with the new data, the situation remains dire, as July saw the rate peak at 17.1%. The job market is further strained by the 11.79 million university graduates this summer, the highest number in history, and by the surge in escape-style postgraduate enrollments. A senior official at a Beijing university noted that institutions are now holding weekly meetings to unofficially track student employment rates and devise countermeasures in response to higher directives. In this challenging job market, the young continue to fight for survival, as jobs with even modest salaries become increasingly scarce. China's youth face garbage era. Korean media analysis suggests that since the Tiananmen incident, China has relied on economic growth and employment to mask political discontent, but this approach has now hit a bottleneck. U.S.-China competition, a slump in private enterprises, and downturns in real estate and consumer spending have left the CCP leadership struggling to manage the situation. In Beijing, a journalist spoke with 4 job seekers born after 2000, all graduates of prestigious universities. They expressed disillusionment, stating, "The little emperors grew up to be ordinary people." Despite high-level education and broadening their horizons during China's rapid growth under the one-child policy, these young individuals find themselves entering what they describe as a garbage era. The youth summarize their situation with 5 new terms. At universities, they function like octopuses, juggling public service exam preparations, master's degrees, and private sector job applications, yet often graduate to unemployment, becoming unfinished children who are unemployed upon graduation. Those who become full-time children initially seek opportunities but eventually join the lying flat generation. There is also a belief that the CCP is intentionally suppressing high-income job groups among the youth, pushing wage equalization to end the myth of working emperors, referring to wealthy individuals in finance, IT, and real estate, only allowing scientists vital for U.S. competition to become wealthy. The founder of a high-income job placement platform noted, in the past 2 years, the crackdown on financial tigers has been relentless, leading to the disappearance of top 1% positions in private equity, consulting, and other high-paying job sectors. Even graduates from Peking University and Tsinghua University are struggling to secure high-income jobs, signaling a collapse of the benchmark line. Monthly salaries above 20,000 yuan, about $2,820, have become a luxury reserved for those with master's degrees in STEM fields, pushing everyone down 1 or 2 levels on the job ladder. The CCP has intensified its use of AI-powered surveillance systems to maintain social stability. AI cameras deployed across the streets have turned China into a panopticon. The post-2000 generation, who grew up under CCP patriotism education and witnessed the unresolved 2022 white paper protests, face slim chances of overcoming the surveillance network to resist the government. Social tipping point. Korean media warn that China faces an inevitable tipping point if the real estate market collapses and young people can no longer rely on their parents. Despair and a survival crisis will follow, especially if jobs with monthly salaries of 2,000 yuan, about $282, become scarce. At Beijing's Majiokyo job market, daily wages have fallen below 200 yuan, or $28.20, while rent for shared rooms in daily rental villages has risen to about 20 yuan, or $2.82. Many workers are struggling. A 30-year-old named Shin, who lacks the physical fitness for manual labor, makes just 100 yuan a day, around $14.1, by working as a temporary actor. On September 3, Korean media reporters observed dozens of people sleeping on benches near the job market, opting to save on accommodation costs by spending the night on the streets. Xi Jinping issues warning, scholar, public sentiment is shifting. With the start of the new academic year, Chishire magazine published a speech by Xi Jinping on September 1st, outlining his educational directives. She said that China must not cultivate individuals who could undermine socialism or the CCP, warning that fostering people with Chinese faces but lacking Chinese hearts and sentiments could lead to catastrophic errors and historic failures. Xi Jinping's remarks come amid rising concerns about political instability due to economic downturns. His comments have drawn attention, as more Chinese citizens and elites are seeking opportunities abroad, including to places like Chiang Mai in Thailand, which now hosts Chinese immigrant communities. This trend reflects a broader loss of confidence in the CCP's rule among the Chinese public. Taiwan University Political Science Associate Professor Chen Shimin talked about this sentiment, noting that many elites are preparing to leave China at the first sign of trouble, indicating a shift in public sentiment and waning confidence in CCP governance. Meanwhile, Gong Xiangxing, an associate researcher at Taiwan's National Defense and Security Research Institute, pointed out that since the reform and opening up, the CCP has feared Western ideologies infiltrating China. Xi's insecurities about his power have driven him to equate the CCP with China itself, using patriotic education to indoctrinate future generations into compliance. Xi has consistently voiced concerns over the potential for color revolutions. At the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Uzbekistan in September 2022, Xi stressed the need to prevent external forces from instigating such uprisings. In another speech published on July 1, 2023, in Chishire, she warned of the dangers if Chinese citizens stopped believing in Marxism, referencing the collapse of the Soviet Union as a cautionary tale. Despite these warnings, resistance persists. Former Tongji University Associate Professor Chiu Jijun told Radio Free Asia that movements like the White Paper movement demonstrate that even with increased ideological indoctrination, young people continue to resist. Chiu described the movement as a color revolution in its own right, symbolized by the blank sheets of paper raised in protest, an act of defiance in a society where speaking out is heavily restricted. According to the Sound of Hope, public sentiment largely views Xi Jinping as the true gravedigger of the CCP, earning him the nickname Chief Accelerator. Commentator Yuan has noted that China's slide into historical garbage time began with Xi's reappointment at the 20th National Congress. Yuan argued that under Xi, the CCP has tightened its grip, leading to economic stagnation, escalating social tensions, and growing discontent both within and outside the party. With Xi breaking party norms to secure another term and eliminating opposing factions, the CCP's future now revolves solely around him. Yuan concludes that Xi's actions have set the stage for the CCP's eventual downfall, with Xi bearing the greatest responsibility. China's domestic demand weakens, Samsung plans to cut 30% of workforce in China. According to a report by Seoul Economic Daily on September 4, intensified market competition and an economic downturn in China have created uncertainties for Samsung's operations. In response, the company is implementing what it calls extreme restructuring measures. Industry sources indicate that Samsung Electronics China has already issued a restructuring notice to its sales staff, inviting voluntary resignations. About 8% of the 1,600 sales employees in China, roughly 130 people, will be laid off in the initial phase. A company insider reveals, this is just the beginning. Layoffs could reach up to 30% by next year. The move comes as Samsung struggles with poor sales of smart TVs, smartphones, and other products in the Chinese market. Plans are in place to cut Chinese sales staff and indirect support roles in the production department, with the layoff process already underway. Samsung Electronics China states that the layoffs aim to enhance organizational efficiency and market competitiveness through necessary business adjustments and personnel optimization. The company plans to slash the workforce in its China sales division by around 30% by 2025. Reports highlight that Samsung's sales staff in China are locally hired Chinese nationals, and the news of layoffs has left employees stunned. Since 2018, Samsung has closed multiple mobile phone and computer factories in China, shifting operations to India and Vietnam. These closures, along with significant staff reductions, have had a notable impact on the local economy. Philippines announces arrest of former Mayor Alice Guo in Indonesia. The Philippine government has announced the arrest of former Mayor Alice Guo in Indonesia, accused of links to a Chinese crime syndicate. Philippine President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. confirmed Alice Guo was arrested around 1 a.m. on September 4 in Tonggarong, Jakarta, Indonesia. President Marcos expressed gratitude to Indonesian authorities for their collaboration with Philippine police in capturing Guo, who served as the former mayor of Bamban City. The Philippine Department of Justice also verified the arrest in a statement issued Wednesday. Guo, 35, had been accused of ties to a Chinese crime syndicate and was wanted by the Philippine Senate for failing to appear at a hearing. She reportedly fled the Philippines, illegally entered Malaysia, then traveled to Singapore with her accomplices, and eventually moved to Indonesia. Guo is also suspected of being a Chinese Communist Party spy and allegedly concealed her Chinese nationality while running for a public office reserved for Philippine citizens. In March, Philippine authorities raided an 80,000 square meter offshore casino in Bamban City, predominantly serving Chinese patrons, where Guo owned part of the land. Nearly 700 forced laborers were rescued, and evidence of fraud, human trafficking, kidnapping, and money laundering was seized. The Anti-Money Laundering Council has charged Guo and 35 others with laundering more than 100 million pesos, or about $1.8 million, linked to criminal activities. Guo's sister, Guo Sheila, was also arrested in Indonesia and has been deported to the Philippines. AstraZeneca employees under investigation by Chinese authorities. Pharmaceutical AstraZeneca confirmed on September 5 that Chinese authorities are investigating a small number of its employees in China. In a statement to the Epoch Times, AstraZeneca said it is aware of the situation but has no further information to share at this point. Reports surfaced earlier on September 5 that some AstraZeneca employees had been detained in China for allegedly violating the country's data laws and importing unapproved medications. Bloomberg, citing anonymous sources, reported that the detained individuals are Chinese citizens and that Shenzhen police are leading the investigation. AstraZeneca, headquartered in the UK, has been active in China since 1993, with offices in multiple cities, including Shanghai, Beijing, and Guangzhou. The company employs over 16,000 people in China across various sectors, including research and development, production, and marketing, as noted by David Fredrickson, AstraZeneca's executive vice president. Globally, AstraZeneca employs 90,000 people. This investigation is part of a broader pattern of scrutiny facing foreign companies in China. Recent raids and arrests have created a chilling effect on foreign investment. In August, Japan's Astellas Pharma disclosed that one of its employees, detained in China since March 2023 on espionage charges, was indicted. Earlier this year, Chinese authorities raided the Beijing office of U.S. firm Mintz Group, detaining 5 local employees and imposing a $1.5 million fine for unauthorized foreign-related investigations. In May last year, Chinese state media confirmed that the Ministry of State Security raided Capvision's offices across several Chinese cities. In April 2023, employees of U.S. consulting firm Bain & Company were questioned in Shanghai. China has recently tightened its control over information flows, revising laws to require local data storage and banning the transfer of sensitive information abroad. New rules implementing the expanded state security law, effective this month, focus on data security, adding to concerns among businesses about potential targeting for routine intelligence activities. The probe into AstraZeneca comes amid declining foreign investor confidence in China's economy. In the second quarter of this year, foreign direct investment plunged to $14.8 billion, with significant capital outflows, according to preliminary data from China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.